So recently, a team of researchers published a paper, and the paper surveyed 7,000 people. And the key finding was that approximately 3 million people lost their jobs over the lockdown period between February and April 2020. However, unemployment is not a new phenomenon in South Africa. And as a country, we've always had very high unemployment rates, especially amongst young people. So how do you think the government can help eradicate unemployment in South Africa?
I think you're 100% right. That we've always had an unemployment issue, well, certainly over the last 24 years. And there's lots of factors to that which we can obviously talk about after I answer the pandemic one. So the pandemic is obviously an issue. I think for the first 6 weeks, I think the government did the right thing. And as much as what people would want to disagree with me, the numbers do speak for themselves with regards to the lack of impact that COVID-19 actually had on South Africa. I mean, we've really coming way underneath what the projections were supposed to be. But I think they did the right thing. First 6 weeks, get us all in lockdown, make sure that we're all safe, get the hospitals up and running. But I think thereafter it got relatively ridiculous.
Okay.
And I think government needed this excuse.
Okay.
This is an excuse that's going to serve them well probably for the next decade, to say that we're still busy rebuilding from COVID, we're still busy from the pandemic, which in fact, I mean, if you just read a little bit of news and just a little bit of literature on what government's actually doing, you would actually realize that that's a lie. The pandemic is just going to be an excuse. So in my opinion, this is a very, very good opportunity for government to reset our economic powers, meaning that we are in a situation of desperation, and desperation leads to an opportunity. Lots of people think that desperation leads to desperate moves and things like that, but we're in a position now where we can actually make good decisions based on the desperation that we're in. We've got one of the most powerful labor forces in the world, and we don't use it. And the reason why we don't use our labor force is because our Labor Relations Act is designed to deter international investments.
Okay.
You can't make more money in your country. You got to make more money from getting international investors, from getting guys that are willing to put up big factories here, willing to put up manufacturing things, willing to really mass produce things with their money, but with our labor force.
Okay.
Right now, our Labor Relations Act is written in such a way that it's almost more difficult to fire someone than to hire someone.
Okay.
And international investors are very scared of that. They're very scared of coming here and employing someone, and it's worse than a marriage. They want to be liquid. They want to know that if production levels aren't what it's supposed to be, they want to be able to move quickly.
Okay.
And it doesn't mean that they're going to take abuse. I mean, with the world being the way it is right now, and with social media having brought us all relatively closer together with regards to information, is that no company can risk brand damage by taking advantage of people.
Okay.
So, we're safe in that regard. But having said that, is the government can put incentives in place. I mean, they can put tax incentives in place for companies. So if international companies want to come and produce or manufacture something here, is put tax incentives in place where the company doesn't pay tax, but obviously the employees still pay tax.
Okay.
This will afford us the opportunity to create millions and millions of jobs with international investment and international money, creating obviously more money within our country, and then alleviating the pressures of unemployment.
Okay.
Our grants that we give, our unemployment grants, child grants, things like that, cost this country billions and billions of rands.
Okay.
And it's all taxpayers' money. And taxpayers actually pay for a service delivery, which means good roads, good electricity, good water, good municipal services. All those things is what's supposed to be part of our tax money.
Yeah.
We're not getting those things because government's spending money just trying to feed people.
Okay.
But they're using taxpayers' money to feed people because the Labour Relations Act that they've applied is not working.
Okay.
So they need to withdraw the Labour Relations Act in its format that it's currently is, so that they don't have to use taxpayers' money to feed the unemployed, because the unemployed are unemployed because of them.
Okay. So, in your opinion, the main hindrance or to alleviating unemployment is the Labour Relations Act that hinders international investors from coming into the country, and thus leading to even higher and higher unemployment rates.
100% right.
Okay, all right.
You know, if you look at the Americans, for example, you know, in America, you know, everyone thinks, oh, they got 3 or 4 jobs, which means they're working 100 hours a week. No, they're not working 100 hours a week. They're still only working 50 hours a week. But because their Labour Relations Act is written in a way where you, as an individual, can actually outsource yourself to 2 or 3 different companies and have 2 or 3 different jobs, you get to make up your 50 hours a week, which means you can actually create an income for yourself.
Okay.
Where our Labour Relations Act don't allow that. You know, if you're in the security industry, for example, and you employ someone, you have to pay that person a minimum of 208 hours. If he has worked at 208 or not, it's irrelevant.
Okay.
That's the minimum you need to pay him. I mean, that makes no economic sense.
Okay.
That you would pay someone for not having any production hours.
Okay.
And it rides through across the board. And you know, the fear I think that international guys have got is they are so liquid in the rest of the world with regards to workforce and labor and things like that. That coming here is too intimidating.
Can I interject there, Mr. J? But don't you think that if you make it a little bit too liquid, it will make many people's lives uncertain?
Oh well, I mean, what's worse, having uncertainty or having nothing? I would certainly rather have uncertainty with an income than have no income and being certain that I have no income.
Okay.